They're better than they were last year.
Sweet down at the
There's a, well, it's actually up top. Concourse.
He's really. Yeah.
All right, we are going to call this meeting to order. Welcome everybody for coming. Now we have brought food and everybody is welcome to get food and you can, we just assume you guys do it now. We have an executive session afterwards. So anytime during the meeting, go over and get food and enjoy because that's why we brought it for everybody. So Mark, go ahead. Don't be shy. You can go ahead. And Renee. There's plenty over there. There is a bunch over there. So please get some food. Everybody, I think, knows the policy to sign in if you want to talk about a topic that is on the agenda and or the general comments after the meeting. So with that, welcome. Dr. Shemp, are there any revisions or corrections to the agenda?
Couple additions and one revision. So we're gonna have a personnel item or two at the end. And the tag policy I wanna talk through, and I've got an idea there that I'd like to share. Some stipends on tag dollars, which is a former teacher appreciation grant. The other one is under requests and communications. The presenter from EF isn't able to be here tonight. So we'll just plan to do that another time. So we'll just skip that.
Okay, so then we will move on. Start the agenda. So we have the minutes from the November 19th regular session meeting. They're in your packet. Are there any questions, comments, corrections about those minutes? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve them as presented?
So moved.
Lisa has made the motion,
Second.
seconded by Kim. All those in favor? 6, all those abstaining? 1, Zach. 601. Okay, we'll move on to financial business, payroll and claims, financial reports, ECA reports, and a utility cost summary. Dr. Shemp?
Sure, you're gonna see pages 6 to 35. You've got all the payroll and claims typical of a month. You can see the month-to-month comparisons, very, very similar to what has been in the past previous year. Not a whole lot of surprises there. As far as the fund report, begins on 36 to 42. There will be a number of items that will yet come in here at the end of the year, and I'll ask for an approval on paying some of that here in a little bit. But once we get past the end of the year, it's a good time to stand back and take a look at where those balances really are. Still holding steady on the education fund at 3.5 million, and the operations fund is 2.28 million. But we are still waiting on. I believe we're still waiting on our draw there, and so that's gonna increase. So now's not really the time to gauge that, but the next month it will be a good time to take a hard look at, okay, where are all those balances? Aside from that, extracurricular reports on pages 43 to 45. See, there's been a lot of ECA work going on. A number of groups have some larger balances. FFA, for example, and they brought in they've spent a good amount of money, but they brought in some money as well. So, that's what you want to see. You want to see the money going back to the kids. So their balance is a healthy one right now. High school athletics, typical of this time of year. Not a whole lot stands out for me there unless there are any questions. Be happy to talk about that. And then finally on all the utility cost summaries, again, pages 46 to 47. Those costs, again, we'll get past the end of the year here and we'll do a little bit of a comparison to prior years to see where we really stack up. But If there aren't questions on payroll claims, the financial reports, extracurriculars, or the utility cost summaries, I would recommend that you approve them as presented.
Okay. Any board members have questions, comments, concerns about any of those items? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Gina has made the motion.
Second.
Second by Zach. All those in favor? 7-0 vote. Okay, we'll move on to donations. Zach, would you like to read those, please?
Yes. Bloomingdale Home Telephone, $250. Purple Ribbon Seeds, $1,000. First Financial Bank, $250. FutureX, $250. West Central Vet Service, $250. Overpeck Gas Company, $100. The Fountain Trust Company, $250. Center Bank, $500. Park County REMC, $200. Scott Pet Products, $500. Ron Construction, $200. Wallace Law Firm, $500. Keystone Charitable Foundation, $1,000. Bridgeton Baptist Church, $500. Beta Phi Chapter ESA Rockville, $200. Park Vision Care Valerie Jones, $250. Gamma Sigma Chapter Tri Kappa, $300. Community Foundation Mole Unrestricted Endowment, $1,944.43. Park County Farm Bureau, $1,000. Ron Construction, $500. Brooke and Kevin Reif in memory of Dottie Hoover, $50. Valley Professionals, $2,000. Hoosier Heartland State Bank, $1,000. Jean and John Craycraft in memory of Dottie Hoover, $75. Harold and Sharon Lowe in memory of Dottie Hoover, $50. McDonald's Digital, $266.99. Mount Hermon Bible Church, $80. Scott Pet Products, $500. Park County Community Foundation Endowment Fund, $500. We're going. It's just good. JB Butler, $300. Deborah and Alan Hill, $5. Tanner and Tanya Snell, $10. John and Brenda Ireland in memory of Dottie Hoover, $50. Thomas and Katie Everson in memory of Dottie Hoover, $30. George and Wilma Wooten in memory of Dottie Hoover, $50. Anonymous in memory of Dottie Hoover, $100. Rockville Athletic Alumni, $5,000 for a total of $20,011.42.
Thank you, Zach. I know that's a lot, but I think it's important to read and recognize all those people who contributed all that money. We get a lot of that, and we very much appreciate it. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Nick has made the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Mark. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, Dr. Shemp, we have a few student transfers.
Yeah, kindergartner, second grader, and fourth grader all transferring from an Idaho virtual school. So ask for you to approve their transfer in.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Kim has made the motion.
Second.
Gina with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, authorization to pay year-end claims.
Yeah, as we get to the end of the year, there are going to be additional claims that come in that will be after this meeting, but prior to the end of the calendar year. And it's beneficial to utilize the 2025 appropriations. This is something that you approve each year, but we have to ask for you to be able to approve it to pay those bills that come in and invoices. And so I'm recommending that the board provide authorization to pay any of those year-end claims up to December 31st, up to and through December 31st, 2025, without prior board approval. The full list will come to you in January, so you'll see what was paid. I ask for you to approve that.
Very well. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move that we pay the bills.
Nick has
Second
made the
that.
motion. Kim has seconded. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, non-reverting appropriations.
Yeah, in addition to that, I am asking and recommending that the board authorize the following list here that I'll read off here in just a second of appropriations to continue as non-reverting appropriations in the 2026 operations fund. These projects were not completed in 2025, and the appropriations, we'd like to keep them in those same line items. So $45,000 in the high school land development, concrete paving, $20,000 NCP admin office sidewalk and railing repair, $1,078,505.85 in the Rockville Elementary Early Learning Project. So we've rolled over dollars a couple years in a row here and built a pretty good balance there. And then $37,597 Park Heritage Middle School building projects, $28,675 for Park Heritage High School classroom improvements. For a total of $1,209,777.85.
All right, are there any questions about rolling those funds over to the next year? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Elise? Lisa's made the motion.
Second.
Zach with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, authorization to approve appropriation transfers.
Each year appropriations need to be transferred within individual funds to balance appropriation line items. These transfers have no effect on the total appropriation for the fund and do not require any additional dollars. The transfers assure that no budget line has a negative balance at the end of the year. Complete list will come to you in January again. We obviously don't know that we might not zero something out before the end of the year now that it's been approved to pay, so that list will come to you in January. So I'd ask that you approve that as well. Another procedural item.
Something we do every year. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Kim has made the motion. Mark with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, there is no old business tonight. Request for communication has been pulled. So we'll move on to new business. We have some personnel items, Dr. Schimpf.
Yeah, we have a retirement coming with Kathy Clifford. She's a speech language pathologist. That'll be effective into the school year, May 22, 2026. We'll get to posting that pretty soon here because those can be challenging positions. Not that they aren't all, but that can be a challenging one to get filled. Arlene Ains, recommending as a temporary library aide at the Park Heritage High School. There aren't benefits associated with that just because of the hours of the week. I need to list that. Then we've got ECAs listed here for Rockville Elementary Academic Coach, Tony Hampton, Rockville Elementary Academic Coach, Allison Lawson, Turkey Run Art Program, Alexa Gilman, High School FFA. This was split up because of people leaving mid-year. So we've got Colton McMullen, Jaden Dudley, Hallie Helderman, Amanda Phillips. And varsity boys basketball, Jeff Thompson, Kyle Wheeler, Rich Shelsky, and assistant varsity boys basketball, Corey Ransom, followed by assistant middle school boys wrestling of William Davies. Do you want or need me to read through those amounts for each of those? They are tied into, obviously, the ECA approved amounts. And the splits occur, there's some prorating on some of them based upon when they left the position. So that's why some of those numbers are different on the FFA than a nice whole number. And on the varsity basketball front, you see the head coach there is not taking much for himself there. He's sharing a lot more with the rest of them. It's his choice. That's what he would like to do. Share those dollars elsewhere as long as you approve it that way.
Okay. Are there questions, comments, concerns? If not, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Gina has made the motion. Mark with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, school calendar.
The corporation calendar that I shared last month, there were two options, and the one has a 4-day period in April of 2 e-learning days. That was really the major difference. It was either those 2 days there or start earlier. Most of the feedback I got from teachers was they prefer to start in the middle of the week if at all possible. And so I'm recommending the calendar as presented to you on page 50 in the packet. We're not perfectly aligned with the other corporations, but we're pretty close. So those e-learning days are different. And Southwest Park doesn't have a day off in January that we use as a flex day for MLK Day. They just have that date scheduled.
Other questions? If there are none, do we have a motion?
So
Zach has made the motion.
Second.
Kim with the second. Those in favor? 6. All those opposed?
Oh,
Were you voting yes?
yes,
Okay.
sorry, I was looking at the calendar. Sorry.
All right, it's 7-0 then. All right. Insurance.
Yep, December is the time of year we have to update our insurance policies. So I'll try to explain this as well as I can, but around the country, obviously, insurance rates are rising for English. So the total premium is listed on page 51. You can see our total premium of $185,000, 473 is found by adding the total package line. I highlighted it. Hopefully you can see it in yellow there, middle of the page. Of the total package for property, errors and omissions, auto, etc., is $116,803. You add that to the workman's comp, which is $56,048, and that comes to the total amount. The following pages go into the workman's comp insurance. If you remember, I'm sure you do. We've been in a consortium for workman's comp for a number of years. We are at the point now where we could get out of that and consider paying an amount that would be fixed, because it's been a long enough period of time that the experience has changed over. The only thing is, this year we are at the minimum, so we're a little over $20,000 on workman's comp, and I felt like it made sense to still stick with that because there's a chance we could still be at the bottom again next year. Obviously, there's always we've had that conversation in the past. Well, you couldn't pay as much as $84,000, but the average there, or the expected of 56 is what's added in to make that 185. I know that's confusing, but we're really going to be more like $20,000 on workman's comp, pending anything over the next couple weeks. So I think it's a good way to go. Stick with it. We've saved some money this time.
What would be our roughly increase for our total insurance over last year?
You're talking about
Percent?
I think it's 20% on the for your property, facilities liability. That's 116. That's 20%. But your total, because of going down so much in the workman's comp, you're well below that amount. So it's kind of helped us balance out. It hasn't it's helped us balance out this time. We're fortunate to not have claims and not have people get hurt, even more so. But the 20% I was warned of was pretty accurate. I had a heads up a few weeks ago that might be, and so we can shop it more in the future, but I was hearing worse numbers from other places too.
Other questions, comments? We have a motion.
So moved.
Gina has made the motion.
Second.
Lisa with the second. All in favor? 7-0. Okay, obsolete equipment.
Do the delivery of a new activity bus just today with a wheelchair lift. I'd like to list the following buses as obsolete. These buses will be advertised for sealed bids. There's a 2010 International Yellow Bus with a wheelchair lift. N7684. And 2008 Chevy Starcraft Activity Bus, VIN number 5645. I'd like to be able to have those declared as obsolete so that we can come out for a sealed bid.
If there are no questions, we have a motion.
So moved.
Kim has made the motion. Mark with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, let's move over to miscellaneous business. Looks like we have another hire.
Yeah, we need to have miscellaneous. We had 45 applicants for the Director of Operations position. I used ZipRecruiter, I used LinkedIn, we used Nimble, the state site, we used the school website. So we had a lot of interest there. Of those 45, I was able to go through and make an initial cut down to 13, just based upon a first read through of every one of those. After that, I got down to 6 after going online and doing a little deeper sleuthing, if you will, and decided to interview 3 people. And I was thankful to have Ash Overpeck participated in the interviews along with Lisa Reitzman and Bruce Patton. Had invited all the principals, but it just didn't work out for everybody to be there. So that group interviewed all 3 people. And I'm recommending that Tim Garver be hired as a Director of Operations with January 5th start date. And his salary will be $75,000. That was the top of the range that we'd advertised. Obviously, that's based upon your approval, right? He does come with some experience in a very similar role. And do you want these separated out, these 2 positions, or you want me to go ahead and lump them together?
I think we'll separate the 2 positions out.
So I would recommend that you hire Tim Garver. His information is included in your packet. If you have questions, please let me know. One of the things that stood out was that he had experience with being at facilities that went from a 2 to a 4 pipe on their HVAC. And I thought, this could be good, right? So that was one thing that stood out. There are other things, but that was one of them.
Okay. Board members, any questions, comments for Dr. Shimp? If there are none, do I have a motion to approve?
I'd move.
Nick has made the motion.
Second.
Kim with the second. All those in favor? 7-0 vote. Okay, new mid-bus route?
Yeah, I'm recommending that Cheyenne Staley be approved to drive an additional mid-bus route. We have a student who lives just out of district, and when they're out of district and there are certain criteria that come into play, we have to figure out transportation. And so I'm recommending that she be approved for that additional $45 route, which is a round trip. The full cost is $45. That's the amount we've been using on these activity bus routes throughout the course of the year. And for the foreseeable future, that's the way it'll be.
Lives out of district, is that what you said?
But was one of our students, so when they're out of district and there are certain criteria, then
To stay.
Yeah, we're tied to have to do that, right? They move. Do we, any questions? Motion, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Zach has made the motion.
Second.
Lisa with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, the teacher appreciation grant.
also in your miscellaneous packet, it's kind of lengthy, but I'll try to give you the short version if I can. In the past, the TAG grant was the teacher appreciation grant. Those grants ended up with about $300-400 per teacher. If you were rated highly effective or effective, you got an amount around $300 or $400. That's been the case for 8 years maybe. longer. The state has changed that, right? We've kind of talked about that a little bit. We've been trying to work through. There is a January deadline to determine who would be recommended to receive a stipend. And so I think we've talked this through before. I originally asked teachers if they thought the school should apply. The majority of teachers, I think, felt like philosophically, no, they didn't. It was a 50-50, but we're just a little bit, we're right there as far as should we even ask for the money? But then as a corporation, when I asked the question of would you individually apply for the money, it was probably 80-20 the other direction. The 80% said they probably would apply for the money. So this was an opportunity to put some dollars from the state into teachers' pockets. They said the most we could recognize would be 20% of the teacher population. So you only get 20% of the people that can get these dollars. Then they gave the allocation amounts, which doesn't match with 20%. We can only give this amount out to 12 teachers in the corporation. You are bound by the law because of the way they wrote it, that the smallest amount you can give is $3,500. So if you take the $42,000 roughly that we received from the state, and you divide by 3,500, you get just over 12 teachers. And so we can only recognize 12 teachers with these dollars. So I had to put together some sort of plan that would work. I've shared off and on here with administrators. I shared it again with teachers this week. I told the teachers that I would give them a final version on Friday because I kind of want it in their hands before they take off on break because maybe somebody would like to do something with it over break and they may not, but it's there for them if they want to. But in order to determine who would receive these dollars, we have to put together a committee. So I want each of the principals on that committee, but I'd like to have a representative from each building, ideally a teacher. So if you're that teacher rep, you're exempting yourself from it too, right? So you're saying up front, I'm not going to be eligible, but I am willing to help select. So with that in mind, what I'd like to do is have a stipend for the people on the committee of $250. There's some weight that goes with this, right? Because there's going to be some time spent on going through applications. There are going to be attempts to keep it anonymous, but that's hard to guarantee because once you have enough intimate knowledge of who's doing what in your building or who may have been involved in some special activity for kids, it's going to be hard to keep it anonymous. I'm going to try to. So the applications will come to me first. I'm going to try to I'm at least going to remove their names from them. I will share them with the committee. The committee's going to meet. There's a timeline that worked out. The committee will meet. They'll then make a recommendation to me as far as which 12 teachers should get that $3,500. If for some reason we have less than 12 teachers apply, then there are additional criteria we can look at and somebody could get the $5,000 or the $7,500 amount. Again, these dollars all come from the state. It's all from that $42,000. I don't want to give it back to the state. I'd rather put it in teachers' pockets. And so we've tried to find a way to do that. It is very imperfect, but we're trying to do the best we can. So what I'm recommending right now is for you to approve a $250 stipend for those 8 members of the committee. Any questions? Because there's a ton to it. If you have questions, let me know.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. And I know that you as the superintendent, us as the school board has no way to control this, but I think it's very unfair.
A lot of people that would agree with you.
I do think though, going forward, you can look at next year if the same criteria, then they would be exempt if they had received a certain amount of time.
I don't know, it would make sense to me if, what makes sense? It would make sense if the state would go back and at least remove those required amounts. We can do something with but that's what they were trying to get away from, was just divvying it up between so many. We'll see what happens if they want to touch that on the short session. I don't know that they would. There's not a lot of fairness in it. It's a matter of we can either accept these dollars or not. If we accepted them, we could still say no. but there's at least 12 people that would miss out on some additional income. And we have more than 12 people that deserve additional. So I appreciate you saying that's unfair.
That's just how I feel.
The committee where it says essentially you'd wanna have a teacher from each building, is that a state thing or that's your thing?
That's us.
Like, why would any teacher wanna be on it?
I have 2 that volunteered already. I was surprised, yeah, I have 2 that volunteered, and that's before they even knew that there might be a stipend, an amount. So, I might have to,
Cause then it says if no one volunteers, you're gonna select someone, which essentially kicks them out of.
but I wanna have
That's
hours.
not fair.
So I don't want to, if I had to do the selection on the last 2, I wanna try to find somebody who doesn't qualify for it already, because there's criteria that the state says you have to live up to. So I'd wanna look for those people, maybe we would have a dean of students, assistant principal, some people that wouldn't really qualify for it that can help out.
So what you're asking for is approval on just the stipend?
It used to be we had to have the tag policy approved, and it happened in September, and you had a date you had to have it done by, and that's gone now. And so I'm not so much asking for approval of the policy as I am the ability to pay a stipend to have people be able to recommend those to me. Couple other things. We don't anticipate publicizing who gets the dollars. I've had some conversations with some teachers who would just as soon not have that information out there on some level, because it just kind of, it's not fair
It's not
and
fair.
it causes issues, and we're trying to not be divisive, even though this is a divisive device. And by publicizing names, I just don't think it's best. If a teacher gets the money and they want to, that's their call. If they wanna tell somebody they got those dollars, but
So in my opinion, I understand you think it's not fair, but can you flip the coin and make it a positive thing? Because obviously the state is gonna give us the money.
Yep.
It's not, and our teachers are gonna benefit. So instead of having those teachers feel like they don't want anybody to know, shouldn't they be celebrated? Because aren't they going to be the top of the top here, whatever the criteria is?
they're gonna have to go through a process to receive recognition.
They should be recognized, and they should be proud that they were picked.
It
We
just,
didn't make
so
the
it just
rules.
goes against, a lot of times it goes against the grain of the teacher. They don't want that additional attention brought
Right.
on.
But we
Right,
didn't
you're
make
right.
the rules, but it's just a way that our teachers are being recognized.
I
Whether
think,
it's 1 or 20.
I think it should be up to the winners of
Correct.
to say whether they would like to be recognized for receiving it, or they would just assume not have any public attention.
Because it looks like, the criteria is gonna be hard. And what they have to do for it, kind of to support the school, is not gonna be easy either.
But any way we go, it's definitely divisive among staff, I think, or could be. Any other comments? I think we have to take the money. I think we have to take the money and give it to our community, or our staff.
Teachers, they deserve it.
No other comments? Do we have a motion to approve the stipend for the committee members?
So moved.
Kim has made the motion.
Second.
Elise with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, that closes the door on miscellaneous business. Let's move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, wanted to give a quick update on the bond. That there will be a closing call Friday. So that will be closed out, and money will become available to start doing the work for HVAC and renovations over Rockville Elementary. Got some tentative timelines. I'm saying tentative because I really would like them to speed up, but I also have to be realistic. Sometimes I like like it done, you know, hey, the money's there, let's get to work now. But the design process won't be completed until the end of January. Bids would happen after that time, and I can walk through that timeline at some point. But I wanted to let you know, 3.47% was the percentage rate. Pretty good rate, my opinion. School lunch information, I just include in your packet. This may not be the first time you've even seen this. There just were questions about meals and are we serving more, and just kind of wanted to put that in your packet for you to take a look at. One thing we drilled down to was that Rockville Elementary had some numbers that slipped at some point in there. There was a month with a lot of field trips, and that impacts your numbers, right? So it's the kind of thing that didn't take into a whole lot of consideration before. We have field trips, we're not gonna sell as many meals. Well, then we need to share that information with Chartwell so they know maybe they don't wanna make as many meals at certain times too. And it's just, we're refining the process, getting better at, but that's why there are fewer served in one of those months in particular. Tag policy we've talked about. Professional development for administrators, that's just, I mentioned before, I know an educator from Finland, and I've done some work with him over the past. He's done some work with some of our middle school teachers before. He was in state, and I knew he was in state, and he agreed to come over and talk to our administrators. And actually, I invited a couple other schools as well. Southwest Park sent a couple administrators over as well, and Phil Harrison and I were both in there. And just interesting to get into some of the philosophy of education, really dig into some of those things and see if there's anything that could be taken from that to help our teachers. There was no cost to this. I know Petrie, who's the presenter, the teacher, he presents all over the world. And he was in Indiana, so I got him talked into coming over. I mean, yes, of course, there's a small sales pitch at the end. It's okay. It's okay. He's not much of a hard sell. So anyway, that's pretty much everything for my report at this point. Questions on any of that? Anything else?
Any other questions on the report? Okay, we'll move on to comments from the public. Anybody sign up to speak?
Questions, come on.
We'll let it go, we'll let you.
Director of Operations, can you describe a little bit about what that entails?
It's a position that's kind of trying to combine multiple positions and cover all sorts of things. Ash Overpeck in the room has had the most similar position to it in the corporation, but we've had individuals leave, and we're down to, Ash has been holding down the fort here and having to do it with very little help. And so we needed to get somebody in the door to give a significant level of assistance, at the same time prepare for the future and figure out, do we need additional help beyond that? There is a job description that we put together when it was posted, that was out there with the posting.
It's basically physical operations, facilities.
Grounds, maintenance, facilities.
I had a question on the tag grants. I understand there were like 3 tiers of that.
Yes.
Is the corporation eligible for the tier 2, tier 3?
What we wanted to do, what the intent was to just go with the 3,500, the lowest level, because more people could get the dollars. If we have fewer than 12 people apply, and if those individuals meet the additional criteria, that's where we would go and look at the other dollar amounts.
My understanding was there was a mentoring program or something that was required in order to qualify for the higher tier, so I didn't know whether that was even an option.
Yeah, we've done some mentoring, and we have teachers who've done that. And so for one of them, it's a requirement, for one of them, it's an option of one of two. So.
Thank you.
Other comments from the public? So comments from the public is closed. The only thing I wanted to mention is I hadn't publicly said anything about Dr. Shemp being named to the Education First Global Education Advisory Council. I'll just read you the first paragraph of the letter. Dear President Ramsey, I'm writing to inform you that Dr. Michael Shemp has been officially named to the education's first Global Education Advisory Council. This is an immense honor. If you're unfamiliar with the work of EF, we are a large international education partner that serves over 1 million students per year around the world in over 50 countries. In the state of Indiana, we are official partners with IAPSS and IASP and work to produce co-curricular international tours for Indiana high school and middle school students. So congratulations to Dr. Shemp on having that, on being put on that.
Opportunity to do some more work for, so, yeah, thanks.
That also, you know, our students have taken advantage of several tours and that'll just
Yep.
create more positive experiences for our students.
And that's the goal. They do some great things for students, and students bring back those experiences. Most part, they're positive. That's been good. It's expanded their thinking, I think.
So with that, if there is nothing else, our next meeting will not be right Wednesday, January 21st. We'll have to move that up, correct?
They changed the law this year, so we don't have to do it until the end of the month, so you can have the third week still. If you wanna stick with the third Wednesday, we can still do that.
Okay. The next meeting will be Wednesday, January 21st, having board reorganization followed by our general session. And then, of course, the large annual Board of Finance meeting. So that'll be 6 p.m. here. If there is nothing else, we're adjourned. And y'all need to get a little more food before you go here.
Way to hang in there, Zach.
That your,